Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Your host, the Raven, here, bringing you some Spelunky action. This time, we're going to take it all the way. We're going to go to hell. We're going to defeat King Yama. For those of you who don't know Spelunky, Spelunky is like Super Mario World mixed with a Rube Goldberg machine, mixed with some kind of torture device. I don't know, but and like well, it's a Rube Goldberg machine. Rube Goldberg, RUBEGOLDERB. It's like a contraption that does a simple task, but it uses like all these complicated parts and pieces, all these like crazy things to get something done. It's really wacky. It's hard to describe, but if you want to fry an egg, instead of just turn on the stove, putting a pan on the stove, and cracking the egg in the pan or whatever and cooking the egg, you would have like, I don't know, robot arms, doing stuff. Like you would have like a pile of wood. Um, you'd have like a one robot hand holding like a match and one robot hand holding like a thing of gas over a pile of wood. It's attached by strings. And when a chicken wakes up in the morning, it gets up out of its nest and that releases a switch, and and all types of stuff happens. So eventually the egg gets cooked, but it's all these crazy contraptions and complicated methods. And that's basically everything you encounter in Spelunky, from simple spiders to snakes to more complex enemies like the aliens, which I really can't stand. Just things can go south just because I think the key to this game really though is that you are your biggest enemy. Out of all the crazy stuff, the arrow traps, the angry shopkeepers, all the monsters that you encounter, tiki traps, it'd be just every trap, every monster, every enemy. It's like, yeah, do they do kill you to get you killed or whatever, but the problem is though mainly you get yourself killed because not using proper judgment, not do simple things like not looking before you leap, being bloodthirsty or hungry for treasure, too greedy, or you trying to show out like, I bet you I can, do this, and kill this or whatever. And it's like it doesn't go in your favor and you wind up dead. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to wind up dead more often than not. So it's like, it's really you're your biggest enemy. You slowing down, paying attention to what you're doing, thinking about the actual risks for what you're about to undertake. Um, and then make a decision and go on at that point. I mean, there's always things that'll happen. There's things that happen that are out of your control too. I mean, especially in places like the ice caves. I mean, it's just stuff is blowing up off screen or is setting off screen that you have no idea about, and it comes around and affects you. So, anyways, you saw earlier I just purchased the cape and the spectacles from the other shopkeeper, but this shopkeeper, he's got a lot of bombs. And I try not to, my policy usually is trying not to rob the shopkeeper unless it's, really, really beneficial. And in this case, I noticed that there's a lot of spikes down below. And a lot of times the shopkeepers will spike themselves, kill themselves easily. So I figured there's a lot of bombs. See, look, he just killed himself. There's a lot of bombs. There's, a spike pit. I don't have to waste the bombs I just stole to try to kill this guy, because he could spike himself. So it was worth it this time. And plus, you sometimes I try to like collect gold and jewels or whatever and buy, necessary items or whatever, but that doesn't always work out because especially the bomb boxes, you really want the big bomb boxes that have 12 or more. They have 12 bombs in them a piece, and the base price is $10,000. If the earliest shop you can get is on level 1, the second level of the mines, level 1, 2. And, if there's a bomb box in there, it'll have 12 bombs in it, it'll cost 10 grand. So if he's a shop where a lot of times, sometimes he'll have 3 of them in there, you need $30,000. And, it depends on the map because, everything in Spelunky is randomly generated. The levels are randomly generated every time, so there is no um, oh, I know how to do this or this is gonna be there. Like you don't know what's gonna be. I mean, everything they always have the same general layout. Like the mines only have certain enemies. The jungle, each area has certain enemies and certain traps and stuff. But the layout is different every time. So you can kind of get a feel for things as you gain experience in the game, but it's always different. So anyway, you might not be able to afford the bombs, blah 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 blah. And I will say that the bombs are probably the absolute like most needed item in the game. I mean, jetpack is awesome. The cape is awesome. Ropes are awesome. And sticky paste is really awesome too. I think sticky paste comes in second to bombs because bombs are really hard to like use. They're really unwieldy without the sticky paste, which you just saw me get from the spider. Sticky paste changes the mechanics. It allows you to toss bombs in an arc. You can stick bombs. It just it changes how you use them, and it's not like you can't win without sticky paste. It is possible to beat every boss without having sticky paste or whatever, but I mean it's just so much easier. It's like night and day easier to have the sticky paste or whatever on the bombs. And then after that, a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I would say after bombs and sticky paste, ropes are the third most important item because especially when you're fighting King Yama, like we're gonna do in this video today, because you need, the jetpack. Yeah, it's awesome. It can boost you up, but its capacity is limited enough, of how long you can boost or thrust or whatever. And a lot of times, often in my personal experience, I find that the jetpack will run out of fuel on you and leave you in midair, and you'll fall down, take fall damage. So ropes prevent that. Ropes allow you to not only ascend to where you need to go, but they allow you to ascend at a measured pace, and they allow you, most importantly, to be able to stop in midair. So you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, is the jetpack gonna run out of fuel? Blah 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 blah. That no, I can hold on to this rope. I can stay, and the rope won't it won't ever fall down. Bombs can't blow it up. Alien ship exploding can't, knock the rope loose. That type things. It's super secure. So, and also when you're shooting enemies, especially if you have the shotgun, it's really, really useful to be able to ascend or descend on a rope to line up with that enemy that you want to kill directly, and have a stable firing area. So that's my personal opinion. Bombs, sticky paste, and ropes. After that, I would say the next necessary things are some sort of movement item. As you can see, I have the cape now. Jetpack is better than the cape because it allows you to go up, whereas the cape only allows you to go down and over. But I will say I do like the cape. I do think the cape has a jetpack beat in the fact that you can control your descent by going slow, and that's really useful because like the ropes, you can slowly descend, blasting everything out of your path with the shotgun, and that's just extremely useful. So that. Then I would say number 6, spike shoes. Spike shoes allow you to kill other enemies that by jumping on them that otherwise they're unkillable by jumping on their heads, and that's really useful against mummies and against the stupid mammoths in the ice caves. I've been killed a couple times by the mummies, but mammoths though are just they could just get you caught up in so many ways. It's just really annoying, and mammoths always are in places that are it's hard to deal with them a lot of times. Mummies, let's say you don't have spike shoes, you can't jump on them. There's usually a way you can kill them by placing a bomb or throwing a bomb on them or something, because shooting. And there's some kind of way you can get rid of them, but mammoths are really dangerous. If you don't have a ranged weapon, or I mean, you can bomb them too, but you know what I mean. It's way easier to spike them, because if you throw a bomb or something, you have to be in front of the mammoth. And spectacles are really good, because right now you can see making use of the spectacles. That circle of light in this dark level is only because I have the spectacles, and that allows you to keep whatever you're holding in your hand, like a shotgun or whatever, without having to carry the torch. Without spectacles, it'd be pitch black. The only thing you would be able to see are the unlit torches that you see against the wall, and whatever's in the range of your torch light. And a lot of times you have to drop the torch in order to be able to see below you. So, if I had a must list, it would be bombs, ropes, sticky paste, spike shoes, a movement device, spring shoes, and then then a weapon. A lot of times, the shotgun or a boomerang or whatever, they'll get you in more trouble than they actually. They'll cause more problems than they solve pretty often. Now, in order to get to hell, you need the Eye of Ujat or Ujet. I don't know how to. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but there's always found between either levels 2, 3, and 4 of the mines. There'll never be the Ujet Eye will never be in the first level, so you can always just go through that pretty quickly. Just save the damsel if you want. Get whatever gold you want or whatever. But once you hit level 1, 2, you have to look for the Ujet Eye. It's possible to get inside the black market without the Eye of Ujet, but it's very difficult to do so. The entrance to the black market can spawn inside walls or behind rocks or whatever. Sometimes you can see the telltale, like bushy, like the bushy like archway or whatever, and that'll let you know where it is. So a lot of times sometimes you can do that, but that's very, very rare. It's better just to get the Eye of Ujet, just to get rid of that problem. Now you can see I traded the cape for the backpack. And right now, I'm systematically going through the black market. Like, this is how I like to deal with the black market. I try to bomb the first area to get the first 2 guys from the top to fall. Because a lot of times, if they fall down below to the second level or further than that, they'll wind up, killing the other shopkeepers with their crazy shotgun blasting, jumping shenanigans. And it's way easier to have the shopkeepers kill each other than you have to deal with them personally. But when you do have to clear a room, it's better just to proceed like straight. Time it so they're not facing you. As you can see there, the guy tried to blast me or whatever. Time it so they're not facing you, and then just go in, shots, fire, proceed slowly, just busting shots. I mean, because shopkeeper deaths happen a lot, especially when you're trying to get the Ankh. It is possible to purchase the Ankh for 50,000 gold, and that's not an impossible task. I don't want to say that the only way to get the Ankh is to rob the black market, but oftentimes if you do collect 50 grand between the first, you might get 6 levels. No, 3, because you have the mine. You have 4 in the mines, because the black market is only in the jungle, and if the jungle isn't in the if the black market isn't in the first level of the jungle, you might get a few more levels to collect, gold or jewels or whatnot. But oftentimes it's really difficult to get 50 grand, especially if you're not going to rob the shopkeepers, which I try not to do. If I can afford gold, I'd rather just buy items that I need or items that are useful, instead of having to battle shopkeepers the whole step of the way. But most of the time, though, when it gets to the time for the black market, I just go ahead and start robbing. I don't know. It's easier to deal with them. I find it easier to deal with them after the fact, because fighting shopkeepers without equipment is extremely difficult. well, it's not extremely difficult, but it's just risky. It's super. That's the word I'm looking for. It's ultra risky. It's way riskier than what's necessary. And if you can avoid that extra risk, especially in Spelunky, I mean everything is risk. I mean jumping down, looking down, going to a cliff, trying to get a damsel, putting a bomb on something. I mean anything can, stuff can go awry so easily. So the less problems you have, the better. That's my personal take. But hey, when you play, it's up to you how you approach, how you deal with the shops. You can rob them, at first sight, just cause. But I don't know, that's your bag. So anyway, once you get the Ujet Eye, or not, it's not absolutely necessary to get the Ujet Eye. It's just way easier to find a black market with it. Go through the black market. You collect the Ankh. The next step is to find the Moai head hidden within the ice caves. Very rarely it can be on level 3-1, the first level of the ice caves, which is where I'm at now. But most of the time, though, it's on the third level of the ice caves, and then less than that, like in order of frequency, the third level of the ice caves by far is like the most likely place to find it. So you try to keep yourself from dying, until you get to level 3-3. And second is the second level of the ice caves. That's if it's not, you always make sure you don't bypass the first two levels, the first level or the third level of the ice caves, just by saying, well, it's most of the time it's on 3. Like I would say maybe 70% of the time it's on the third level. And that can, make you feel like, well, why even check the other levels? I should just go to the third level. But that's not the case. Sometimes it will be on the first level. I would say, I don't know, maybe 10% of the time it's on the first level, and then the rest is, I'm not good with percentages, so don't hold me to this. But the rest of the time it's on the second level. So basically, just don't skip any levels. Check every level. You have to be thorough if you want to make it to hell. And to get into the Moai head, you have to either use a ball and chain, which is extremely difficult to do. You have to blow up Kali altars or whatever to the point where she places a ball and chain on your leg, which makes navigation and maneuvering and just it makes a difficult game like super difficult, because it's you got the extra burden or whatever and the limited mobility. But the problem, I think, if you do break into the Moai head with the ball and chain, I believe you don't get the Ujet hat. That's which, I don't know, check the wiki to, make sure. But I feel that you don't get the hat unless you have the Ankh. And when you do have the Ankh, which I got from the black market, what you have to do then is, and plus when I was playing this and I lost that shotgun, I was like, damn it. But luckily it was right there. So I really lucked out that shotgun didn't go into the abyss. But anyway, you get the Ankh. You have to die, and the Ankh will resurrect you inside the Moai head. And you still have to be careful, because I believe it's possible to go inside the door that's hidden within the Moai head faster than the hat can drop. The hat, I forgot what the hat is called. It's Ujet Eye. It's like Sekhmet hat or something like that. I don't know. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, a little hat jumps down, like a little elfin-looking hat, or it's like an Egyptian hat or whatever. But it takes a second or so, or a half a second or so, for that to happen. So it's possible to be in such a panic or a rush that you go inside the door before the hat comes down and you receive it. If you don't receive the hat, you cannot get inside the City of Gold. And without being able to get inside the City of Gold, you cannot get the Necronomicon book, which not only does it point the way to hell, that's what I thought. I thought it just told you where the entrance to hell was, but actually, without the hat, the entrance to hell will be sealed. It won't. The door won't be open. So even if you find if you bomb your way down or whatever inside Olmec's lair and look manually, you still won't be able to find you won't be able to go inside the hats. I mean, go inside the door or whatever. So you definitely you need the Ujet hat and you need the Necronomicon to get through. So now that we've died, unfortunately, when you do die, you can't take anything you're holding in your hands with you. So if you're holding a shotgun or whatever item, a knife or whatever, the Chris knife or whatever, crazy, thing you may be using or wielding at the moment, you will automatically drop it and reappear inside the Moai head without it. However, you are allowed to keep whatever's on your back. So movement devices like the cape or the jetpack, you're allowed to keep. At this point, rescuing damsels give you a point of health. Once there's a way how you deal with the approach to damsels in the game is up to you. A lot of people, they try to sacrifice the damsels to Kali to try to get the Kapala so they can try to fill up on blood and get their health up. That's one way to do things if you want, but I find that really complicated also. Most of the time, I have a kind of a two-part strategy. Before I get the Ankh, I try to rescue damsels just to build up my health in general, because so many things can go wrong, and you don't want to die just because frankly, you were too lazy to, build your health up in the beginning. Because, I mean, something can go wrong. You can get tiki trapped. I believe it's better to save damsels to at least be able to survive being tikied, which, the tiki trap is the thing I'm just blowing up. It's like a rectangle, like face or whatever. I mean, if you play Spelunky, you know what a tiki trap is. If you don't play Spelunky, they're just jungle traps or whatever. Spikes come out the sides of them and they stick you. They do 4 points of health. You start off in base with 4 points of health, and then you can either can be added to by rescuing damsels or eating honey, the queen bee's honey, or using the Kapala or whatever to gain health. And the rest, it just subtracts. Most enemies cause 1 point of damage. Getting blasted by a shotgun from the shot keeper, I forgot how much. It's possible to survive that if you have enough health. I think it does like 4 damage or something like that. But it's a lot. So you try to want to avoid being shot in the face with a shotgun as much as possible. Tiki traps do 4 points of damage. Arrow traps do 2 points. So, basically, before the Ankh, you don't want to go crazy because you are going to have to sacrifice yourself. And when you sacrifice yourself using the Ankh, it only restores 4 points of health. It restores you back to your base health. So it's not, wise to go crazy saving damsels or, trying to get health or whatever before the Ankh, before you have used the Ankh. Because, I mean, you're going to have to kill yourself and start over anyway at, base health. So beforehand, yeah, try to get like maybe 6 to 8 health, whatever. If the damsels are easy to get and it doesn't take bombs or, precious resources to get them, yeah, I go for saving the damsels because you need the extra health, just for precaution's sake or whatever. Now, after you've used the Ankh and you've resurrected inside the Moai head, then I do try to make it a priority to save damsels if it's possible without too much risk, because the ice caves, what is this, the Egyptian temple or whatever temple this is, and hell especially, they're so dangerous. I mean, I don't know if you play video games at all. Like, I don't care like what's you could think of like the hardest level and like the hardest video game or whatever, or hardest area in like because like old games have levels, like level 1, level 2, world 1, world 2, stuff like Mario Brothers, stuff like that. And now modern games, it's more open world, like stuff like Skyrim, things of that nature, where it's not so much as a level, but an area might have really hard monsters or something like that. So whatever level or hard area you've thought of, like That's nothing compared to like hell and the ice caves, the temple and hell in Spelunky are like, man, they're just insane. I mean, when you first play it, like I mean, every level like gives you frustration, I guess. But after so long, the mines in the jungle, I would say they become kind of tame because there's only so much that you have to look out for. Like, the mines, you don't want to get spiked. You don't want to blow yourself up with TNT. You don't want to crush yourself by digging through blocks using the pickaxe or whatever, and then having another block fall on your head. Just simple stuff. It's frustrating at first, but over time you get used to it. But the temple, the Egyptian temple, City of Gold, hell, and the ice cave, it's like even the most experienced player can get annihilated because stuff can happen, or the way it's laid out could just. I mean, it's almost like you have no hope anyway. Just because you came in there, you automatically don't have hope. You're gonna die just because you spawned in it or you made it there or whatever. I mean, that's how difficult some of these areas and dangerous these areas are. So, um, there's that or whatever. So now that we're in the City of Gold, if depending on what your goal is, like my goal in here is just to beat Yama and get the true ending. It's not to try to make scores or whatever. But if you do want to make score or whatever, yeah, you would use more bombs to like harvest all this gold because everything's made out of gold except for the enemies and just bombing stuff or, using an alien blaster if you're skilled enough to get in here with it because you had hired hand or whatever. If you're that skilled at the game, then go forward, go nuts, I mean, there's probably $1 million, in gold, built into these walls because you got gems. Red gems are $1,600 a piece. Blue gems are $1,200 a piece. And green gems are $800 a piece. So you got gems, jewels. Tiki traps are made out of gold. Arrow traps are made out of gold. The bricks are gold. I mean, the blocks are gold. So it's just crush traps are gold. Like everything is gold. You get the golden beetles, which I think they're 5,000 a piece. I'm not sure if that stays steady because I know the idols, they go up as the level increases. Like idols in the first area are like worth 5,000, then it's like 7,500, then so on and so forth. I don't know exactly, but the value of the idols increases as the levels increase. I don't know if that's true for the golden scarab creatures, but still $5,000 a pop. So there's probably $1 million in there. Who knows? Or at least 500,000. I'll take it down to 500,000. So anyway, we got the Necronomicon. It's always in that chamber in the City of Gold, and basically, if you're there to make money, make money. But if you're trying to beat the game, only just look for what you need. Like make your way as carefully and as safely as possible down to that chamber that has the book inside it, and try not to use bombs to kill things if it's possible because bombs are so necessary, not just for Olmec because you got to bomb your way down to the entrance and bomb a way for him to die inside the pit or whatever. But bombs are also useful on King Yama. Sticky bombing his hands and his head are like really easy thing to do. And second, though, you need bombs to be able to get through hell because hell is so insane. Like sometimes there's no way. Well, there is always a way to get through it. I mean, I guess it's never. Sometimes a level can spawn where you can't progress without a bomb or whatever, but that's very rare. But still, there's that. But plus, though, things are so dangerous inside hell. It's like sometimes it's just simply better to make your own path by bombing your way through the land to get to where you need to go. So the more bombs you have, the better, because you don't, especially at this point, if you've stolen the Ankh or if you pissed off the shopkeepers in any way, shopkeepers will always wait for you at the exit to a level. There will always be a shopkeeper there, always. And the true thing is, in hell, oftentimes they wind up getting killed because, once again, hell is just that dangerous. I mean, there's the spike balls, spikes. There's guys dropping the fire. There's a demons dropping the cauldrons of fire with the fire guy inside it. You know, there's tiki traps. I don't. Oh, is there arrow traps in hell? There might be. I'm not sure, but I think it. You know, because some areas have certain traps and some don't. Like, there's no tiki traps in the ice caves, and there's no arrow traps inside. I think there's no more arrow traps inside the jungle, but each area, you know, has certain traps or whatever. But hell is filled with traps, and it's filled with lava. It's filled with spikes. I mean, it's an insane area. It's literally like hell. So anyway, defeating Olmec. What you need to do is bomb your way down, and get him to fall into this pit, kind of like Bowser from Super Mario Brothers 3. But the thing is, though, I'm not the best at digging the pit, so I will admit I'm using way more bombs than, you know, is absolutely necessary. It is possible to get, you know, bomb your way down with only a few, but it seems like every time I try to just bomb, you know, there's methods I've seen on YouTube where they just drop like 8 bombs in a row or whatever, and it just bombs its own way down, like bombs its own tunnel or whatever. But I've never perfected that technique, and I'm kind of more of a safe than sorry type guy anyway. So you only need a four block wide pit, you know, for Olmec to fit through. But I just, you know, once again, I just bomb your way down. So yeah, bombs are super important, especially if you're not very good at bombing. So that's another reason why I give the advice to always only use the minimum amount of bombs as possible. If you can kill it safely by using a shotgun or some other means, you know, especially the shopkeepers, if you can get them to spike themselves, or, you know, if you just wait, a lot of times they'll tiki trap themselves. They'll get spiked by the tiki trap, which you see me blowing up right now. You know, then it's better to let that happen. Also, in hell, get rid of a lot of stuff, but it's sometimes, you know, you're tempted because the place is so dangerous. You're tempted to just go bomb crazy and just try to get rid of everything dangerous. But even with like 70 bombs or whatever, you wouldn't be able to get through hell by bombing everything and make it, because there's just so many dangers. Like, you would have to bomb everything, every patch of spikes, bomb every tiki trap, bomb all the spike balls, bomb demons, bomb shopkeepers, and you just have to bomb, and you will run out. Especially if the bombs don't go your way, like they blow up something that you're not, it blew up something, but they didn't have the intended effect that you wanted. Also, what's absolute, which I need to mention, I almost skipped it, is get that emblem. You need the fire emblem so you can be fireproof. It's almost a death sentence to be in hell and not be fireproof. So I mean, you see right there, the fireman just jumped on me. If I didn't have that emblem, which is always hidden in Dracula's tower, that's what would have happened. Is that fire guy would have landed on me, set me on fire, stunned me, sent me into the pit, where that shopkeeper would have killed me by blasting me to death with his shotgun. And here, once again, I elect to not try to bomb this guy, sticking with a sticky bomb, but to try to just time it to get through. That's dangerous too. And I do have a significant amount of bombs, at 36. But still, though, that can go so fast, you know what I mean? Because you don't know what kind of traps or situations you're gonna encounter in this hellscape or whatever. So, if you can make it, it's up to you and your skill level or what you feel confident in doing. If you can make it, then time it so you get through the door, without using bombs. But if you want to feel safe, you want to do it the right way, bomb them. You know what I mean? Bomb them, blast them. Do everything you can to, make it through or whatever. So here we go. And you can see there's lots of narrow corridors, lots of the spikes pits or whatever. When it comes to enemies, I always recommend killing enemies that are in your forward path. If they're gonna be in your way, or if you might have to backtrack a little bit for safekeeping, kill them. But if there's a way to get past them without killing them, then I would recommend doing that also, because it's just, the small enemies add up damage too. Getting bit by bats, burnt up by the lava guys, bit by demons, spiked by those spiky-headed blue demons. Which those things, they haven't killed me that much, because it's very difficult to get to hell in the first place. But still though, they can cause problems. They're just problem causers or whatever. So here, I see that the shopkeeper's still alive. I want to be. It's better safe than sorry. So I'm pretty sure that I can get some bombs down on him. And right here, right in front of him, blew him up. So if you can bomb him safely without having to use 10 bombs to do it, then do that. It's better than trying to go one-on-one with the shopkeeper, because while you're battling him, bats, vampires, Young Shi, the ghost jumping Chinese ghost guys, all this bull crap will get you, and you might think, oh, that guy, he's on the other side of the screen, or that guy, he's behind, this area or that area or whatever. He can't get to me. No, hell no. He will get to you. Trust me. Like in Spelunky, it will catch up with you. Whatever enemy or crazy contraption or whatever is present, if you don't deal with it safely, or avoid it altogether, like get through the level and get through the door without ever having to encounter it, it will eventually catch up and get you. Like shoot everything, Once again, always, you don't want to be bloodthirsty. You want to, you don't want to be bloodthirsty, but you do want to just take care of many problems as possible. You know what I mean? So like you see, like here we have a shopkeeper. He got spiked. So at first I'm thinking, how am I going to drop a bomb on him? But he got spiked twice, and here he goes again. Third time he died. So if it's possible to be patient, also keeping in mind, that the ghost comes out after 2 minutes 30 seconds of being at every level except for Olmec's temple and like King Yama. If you have the time to be patient, be patient. If they can spike themselves or tiki trap themselves, let them do that. Trust me. I mean, you want the bombs for yourself. So here we are, King Yama. Some things about him is that he can drop those skulls from the ceiling. They always fall 3 blocks wide. Whichever, and they always fall on top of you. Once you get to a certain height, as you ascend, and that vampire just jumped into the lava and killed himself. As you ascend, once you ascend past a certain height, I think like midway, as you ascend, he'll drop. That's when he chooses to drop the skulls on you. And another thing I learned the hard way is that even when you blow up his hands, which you see him slamming down to cause the skulls to fall, the skulls will continue to drop long as Yama himself is alive. So it's like, don't get complacent, and be methodical. You want to be as methodical as possible. You see, I'm going all the way underneath the throne or whatever to take care of that flying imp, because you just want to be on the safe side. Also, once again, you see I have the jetpack, but one thing that happens often is that, either A, you'll run out of fuel, or B, he'll skull you or whatever. So, you don't want to rely on the jetpack. You can see I'm using ropes and chains, because this is where the ropes come in handy or whatever, because the jetpack will run out of fuel. I mean, and you'll get smacked by something, or you'll take fall damage and die. And I've lost it on Yama so many times due to fall damage. It's insane. It's just crazy, all the stuff that can go wrong. So here I'm trying to be super careful, but I want to get rid of those spike balls. And here I was too aggressive with my flying, and I got spiked by the tiki trap. And that's another reason why you want health, because if I had only 4 health, I would have died right there. And plus the spike thing, it almost landed on my head and crushed me. So you can see how things could just go wrong, period. I mean, you just can't be safe. And I admit I am nervous as all hell at this point because, and see, I didn't mean to stick a sticky bomb there, and see, that blew my cover, and I realized that I had to get out of there because you will get, the skulls will hit you or whatever. And then with only 2 hearts left, skull, fall damage is just, it's, you can't accept it at this point. So anyway, what I'm trying to do is, quick bomb him real quick and then get back under cover, before, he can skull me or whatever. It does take him a couple of seconds to shoot the skulls or whatever. So then I blew his face up. And, now it's time to hit that door to that big V, that victory. So, and once, and it's just the whole time you're so nervous because so many things have to go right. You need the bombs, you need the ropes, you need, well, not need, but, it's better to have sticky paste, ropes, bombs, movement device, not getting killed by shopkeepers, getting the Eye of Ujet, getting the Ankh without getting killed in the black market, getting through the Moai head without getting killed or some kind of mishap happening, resurrecting, then keeping yourself alive through the temple, the city of gold, Olmec, going through hell, getting the fire emblem so you'll be fireproof, which is not absolutely necessary to get the fire emblem to beat Yama, but if you get skulled or something other misfortune happens and you get tossed into that lava pit that's below, it's game over. So it's just, you want as many things going right as possible. Also, if you blow up Yama's hands or you separate his head from his body by damage, he'll start spitting out those fire guys, and those fire guys will be covering the bottom of the arena, and you'll just be getting burnt up, so it's possible without certain items, Eye of Ujet and the fire emblem, things of that nature, but it's like, that's like saying it's possible to swim the ocean, you know what I mean, without like a boat or whatever. But like, how likely are you going to be able to be successful in that? Like, even if you're like, you have infinite stamina, infinite strength, and you never get cold from like the icy Atlantic or Pacific waters or whatever, a shark like come up and bite you. I mean, you're still made out of flesh and blood, so it's like you can be eaten by sharks. So it's just get the stuff, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm your host, of Raven. I appreciate y'all watching. If you've never played Spelunky before, I recommend it. I just say that it's very frustrating to start to learn, but as you get better at it and you start to, when you beat Olmec for the first time, or in fact, not even beating the bosses, just getting to each new stage, getting from the mines to the jungle, learning the mines, learning the jungle, and getting from the jungle to the ice caves, learning the ice caves, getting from the ice caves to the temple, getting the temple, being able to go through the city of gold, hidden areas like the mothership, the black castle, the haunted castle, all these like these hidden areas. Like as you learn it, you feel so much better, and it's worth the initial frustration. And trust me, you will be cursing. I mean, you'll be like, man, F this, how the F did that happen, or F this, F that. And there's some enemies that, man, you'll just have it in for them on sight. I mean, like Yetis. There's some enemies that are just so dangerous. Like, even if I don't particularly hate them, I blast them anyway just because, for safekeeping. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. I encourage all of you, if you're a beginning Spelunky player, don't give up. However frustrated you get, or however hard it seems, it's possible to learn it. It's possible to win. So don't give up. Keep playing Spelunky. Just keep enduring. That's my main message to you as a player. Just keep enduring, and you'll get better, and eventually you will be able to beat it. So I thank you for watching. Your host, of Raven. Stay tuned for more video game action, and have a great day.